What's up, everyone? This is Bacon here, and today we're going to be discussing signature items and AFK companions. Signature items are a really important aspect of your hero development, and sometimes it can be a little confusing about which heroes you should build up their signature items for, which ones you leave, especially with how rare some of the materials for building signature items is. So let's go and look at Thescu right here first. So you can see he is a mythic. So those of you who don't know, when you get a unit to Mythic, you are able to unlock their signature item with 20 of the primordial emblems. These emblems you can get from the shop, you can get from different towers, you can get them in the Forked Fate, and a few other areas, events, stuff like that. And so the silver ones are the ones you're going to get the most. They're just the easiest to get. You get them more frequently. And then the gold, and then the faction-specific ones. So you need 20 to first unlock the item. And you can see when you go to the items, let's just go ahead and go back and just pick a random one. So if you go and look here, you can see when you unlock an item, it automatically gives you one trait or one attribute or skill. So for this one, you can see during battle, Athalia's defense rating is increased by 4% of her attack rating. And so just by unlocking it, you get that, which is really nice. It's a really low-hanging fruit to get an easy buff on your units. I would say basically anytime you get a unit that you're going to use in some capacity, you should unlock their weapon because it just costs 20 of the gray emblems and then you're done. You don't have to do anything else. You might want to consider building up to 10 later, but just unlocking it gives you an easy boost that's really has a really low investment. And so once you do that, you need to decide if you want to go to plus 10. To get the plus 10, you use all of the gray or the silver emblems. And then once you get to plus 10, let's go ahead and find an example. All right, so you can see Schultzer here. From plus 10 to plus 20, you will use the amplifying ones or the gold emblems. Like I mentioned earlier, these ones are a little bit harder to find than the silver ones. And then once you get to level 20, from 20 to 30, you'll have to use faction-specific emblems. You can see them here. For Rowan, you need light emblems. And as you level it up, you progressively need more and more, up to plus 30. And so there are certain units where you really just want to do the base unlock and then kind of leave it at that. Whereas there's others where they get a really high power spike once you get to plus 30 or plus 20 or plus 10. And so you want to kind of decide which ones you want to build up at certain points. Obviously, units that you have built out more are probably ones you want to focus on. It doesn't necessarily make sense for me to, build up my Entendra's signature item when I have, Gretzel, Rowan, Brutus, Shaltir, all close to maxed out. And so you want to make sure you're focusing on the right units that you're building out. And so let's go ahead and take a look at the spreadsheet to see what, where people kind of land with their signature item recommendations. So if we go ahead and look at the spreadsheet that I had a video on earlier, you can check that video and the spreadsheet links in the description below. You will see that there's different investment options as far as signature items go. The signature item is the SI. And so SI 20 for the minimum investment, that means you get the plus 20 at minimum, then 30 is optimal, and then competitive 30 as well. Everyone's gonna look a little different. Some will have all the same, some will look a little different. For example, Rowan, minimum, mythic, with a signature item 0. Optimal, 30, and then competitive 30 as well. And so you want to look at this. I would say the spreadsheet is probably your best bet because there are so many different units in the game. There's just not an ideal way for me to provide you with feedback on how you should be investing every unit signature item because it really depends on where you're at in the game, who you're building out, and so forth. And so I would say referring to this spreadsheet and kind of going down the optimal aisle, unless you're a whale. Competitive, I kind of view as people who are whaling or really into arena. Optimal, I would say, is kind of where you want to be. Minimum for maybe some of your, celestial hypo units, but optimal for basically everyone else is where you're going to want to build them up to. So, for example, I am currently building Sanja, and I'll probably get her signature item to 10, and then I'm going to kind of leave it at that because Building up to 20 isn't really worth it at this point where I'm at. You can see Ainz is a unit who is dimensional, is hard to get, and he has a very high signature item build, which is why he's kind of, unfortunately not the best right now. Same with whatever her name is. I am so bad with names, I swear. It's right here, Albedo. Same with Albedo. Albedo's really great units. Doesn't require quite as much investment as Ainz, but she really needs that high signature item to really pop off, which is unfortunate because, you can't use her in towers, faction towers, and not in every build is she great. So keep that in mind. So this is probably the best way I would say to kind of figure out how much you want to invest in signature items, following the optimal minimum if you're kind of on a budget or don't have a lot of items, and then go from there. I would say if you're not sure which units you should build up first with their signature items, because eventually you're going to have to focus units that are plus 30, I would just focus these units that are in the top area. I'm currently building out Rowan. Shaltir is not a terrible option, though I think Mishka might be a little bit better to invest in because she has a faction for the faction towers. But Shaltir is also a great option as well. You can see Shamira, Belinda, Laika. All these units have some high signature item requirements, and so you can kind of choose whoever you have built out the most, who you like to use in a lot, and then focus on them first, and then kind of just follow the guide from there. The last thing I'll mention about signature items is you can buy the materials to build them out here with diamonds. If you are a low spender or someone who doesn't spend at all, probably not worth using your diamonds here. But then Arena Store, this is where you're going to want to spend them right here. Spend your Arena tokens. I'd prioritize this, and then the gold emblems, and then the silver or primordial ones. In that order, just because these ones are a little rarer than the gold, and gold's a little rarer than the silver. So that is where you're going to get these for the most part. You can get them from events as well, but this is where just over time, steady income of these emblems, this is where you're going to get them. So definitely prioritize these once you kind of get whatever you want from these other 4 items. And then you should be pretty good. You should over time be building up some signature items. You don't want to wait too long in your kind of companions build up, because if you wait too long, you're going to hit chapter 30, 29, 31, whatever. You're going to get kind of mid to late game-ish, and then you're not going to have any units built out with their signature items. So the sooner you can start kind of building out these signature items on those important units, the better. It'll help you in every component of the game. That includes campaign, towers, arena, guild bosses, etc. It'll just enhance how much damage you're doing in every facet. So make sure you're doing that. Make sure you're prioritizing it. But that is all I have about signature items. Like I mentioned earlier, the links to the spreadsheet will be in the description below. So check that out if you want to look at the spreadsheet on that. I did not create that. You can check out my other video where I kind of go over the spreadsheets or the kind of tier list guide. It's super useful. It's a great resource that's been provided by members of the AFK companion community. And with that being said, thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Peace.